Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by eBay. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, we are a week into the NBA season and we only have 4 undefeated teams. We're going to talk about them a little bit. Also, scoring is up. Lowry marketing, wow. And we've got Jon Krawczynski to talk about the Timberwolves losing Anthony Edwards for a couple weeks. Es, did the Blue Jays win?
I hope so.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Es. We're recording while that baseball game is still going.
That's how late it is. Yes.
Hey, another fun night. Our first big Monday night in the NBA with a bunch of games. And, you know, unlikely scenario where somehow the Philadelphia 76ers are now 3-0, even though the Orlando Magic came to town. You know, we talked a little bit on yesterday's show, Es, about the Magic, about how they're struggling a little bit, trying to figure out how to incorporate Desmond Bane. I mean, they lose this game to the Sixers. Sixers still don't have Paul George, don't have Joel Embiid out there. It's just not a team that you think should give the Magic a hard time. And yet, man, they really struggled to score with those guys.
Yeah, they couldn't keep up with the guard rotation of the Sixers. And I think that's becoming a very prevalent storyline for the Sixers team throughout the year. It's just how do you contain the guards in Tyrese Maxey, in VJ Edgecombe, in Quentin Grimes, and then once he gets healthy, Jared McCain, because he's kind of a fourth guy in this equation that we haven't seen yet. And look, these guys dominated this game. They were absolutely dynamite. I love how they are providing space for all of them to explore different areas of their game, but also just maximizing them like crazy offensively. So Tyrese Maxey goes off for 43 points and 8 assists against this Magic defense. The Magic defense, by the way, is becoming a little bit of a question on top of what their offense has been. But Maxey was great. I don't know if you noticed this, but like the poise that he plays with now, the control that he uses, it's like he can go from first gear to third gear really quickly and figure out how he can slow down as well. That's one of the coolest parts about figuring out how quick and how slow he can go. So that part is great. And then on top of that, man, VJ Edgecombe is very clearly going to be a star level player. All-star, potentially superstar eventually. I got this crazy stat for you. They showed it on the broadcast, but since 1980, most points in the first 3 years or 3 games of a career. Jerry Stackhouse has 76. VJ Edgecombe has 75. Dominique Wilkins has 75. Michael Jordan has 74. And Isaiah Thomas has 74. So clearly,
and Austin Reeves has 92 in the last 2 days. So.
That's crazy. Scoring is up.
Look, VJ Edgecombe, Tony Jones said it on the show. He said he's a superstar. He said he just has everything. And in his first 3 games, he certainly seems like one. He can score. I mean, he 25, 5 and 5 so far as a rookie in his first 3 games. That's not normal.
The rookie of the year conversation is interesting now because he's performing the way he is.
Unanimously, we all thought, hey, Cooper Flagg, he's going to be the guy. He's got the most attention. He's going to have the most opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And so far, we'll get to Cooper in a second. But, man, so far, I mean, there's a lot of people, but I think VJ Edgecombe probably the front runner through 3 games if we want to already do that.
Absolutely. And look, on the Edgecombe front, I think the Sixers have done a great job of making his life easy. So it's like you're attacking a closeout, you're working off ball, and you're going to make this stationary shot for us. And you're going to use your athleticism, but you're going to use it in transition, or you're going to use it to burst through a seam defensively. They're not making him create too much. They're not making him be an on-ball creator. They'll give him certain moments and doses throughout the game to knock down a pull-up 3 or operate in a pick and roll, but they're not throwing him out there, kind of the fire to the wind. You know what I mean? Like they're doing in Dallas with Cooper Flagg. It's a different story in terms of contextualizing how they're like the success of both of these rookies, which is really interesting, I think.
Yeah, and by the way, Edgecombe guards, too. He had a really nice block in the game last night. Let's go ahead and talk about Cooper Flagg. The Thunder, they beat the Mavericks, in a game that I thought the Thunder were going to run away with. Mavs made a nice comeback late, and it's notable as they made the comeback with Cooper Flagg on the bench. And look, I'm not gonna come out here and say he got benched. That's not what happened. I think they just went on a run, and Jason Kidd likes to stick with the hot hand. But this was a really bad game for Cooper Flagg. 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, 2 points. That's rough.
Yeah, especially after the game he had against the Raptors where he looked simply dominant. I think he
night and day defense, though, man. The Thunder coming into your town and
compared
blowing
to
up
the
your
Raptors.
spot is so different because the Raptors just look confused defensively compared
100%.
Yeah, when Lou Dort is in your grill, it's just welcome to the NBA, buddy.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than Jamal Shed being in your grill. Yeah, I agree. So like I agree with you in that front. And look, it was a rude awakening for Cooper, especially at the point of attack, dealing with those ball handler, just like dealing as a ball handler in general. Again, I thought the Mavs made their comeback when D'Angelo Russell was on the floor, when Jaden Hardy was on the floor. Ball handling seems to be important. And I'm not saying those guys were like monumental. They changed the game. D'Angelo Russell didn't even have a very effective game scoring the ball. He was 3 of 14. But you still need a ball handler to set guys up. And I think, I don't know, maybe we could talk about this a little bit, but developmentally, do you prefer throwing Cooper to the fire and forcing him to be the ball handler immediately? Or do you want him to thrive in a context? This is sort of the VJ Edgecombe question we were talking about earlier, too.
I mean, I think it'd be better if he was playing something more like what he's going to do for the rest of his career. And ball handling is important, and he's a decent ball handler. He can't handle the sort of ball pressure that NBA guards are going to come put on him.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
for
a different
30
world.
minutes.
No.
Yeah.
It's too taxing. And frankly, like he's a big wing. Find a point guard, figure out how to get in the ball. We should talk about the Thunder a little bit. Chet had a monster game, by the way. 4 blocks, 18 points. They are just really good. AJ Mitchell, 6th man of the year. I'm just going to call it right now. It came off the bench, 17 again. I mean, they're just good. They keep finding guys.
They are. I mean, if we're going to go look at the undefeated teams, which are the Sixers, the Bulls.
They are the best undefeated team.
They are the best undefeated team.
Because one of those undefeated teams, the Bulls, and they are not good. Okay, the Chicago Bulls are not good, but you got to give them credit because they found a way to win another game. They beat the Hawks 128-123. And look, Josh Giddey, when you watch him play basketball, it is an experience, right? It's a roller coaster. And because he will do something that looks like someone who's never touched a basketball in their lives before on one possession. And then he'll come back and he'll get like the game-saving offensive rebound.
Yeah. It was look, the Bulls are a fun experience. Anytime you watch the Bulls, by the way, probably top 5 league pass team this season, just because of how fast they play, how entertaining they are, how much they do not care at all about defense, and how they are just relentless in terms of we're going to run, we're going to shoot a bunch of shots, we're going to juice our offensive numbers as much as possible. Josh Giddey is the head of the snake in that department. And by the way, there is no better team to juice your offense against right now than the Atlanta Hawks because the Bulls had 8 guys score in double figures. They basically could get anything they wanted to offensively, which is part of the Bulls scheme. I actually, to your point about them being a bad teams find ways to win when they have an identity. And I think that's a big difference between the Bulls and the Raptors, who lost to the San Antonio Spurs tonight. And they do not have an identity right now. The Bulls, meanwhile, are like, cool, we're going to run. We don't care about defense. We're playing hard.
They're the play-in, play hard team, right? Like that is who they are. That's who they're going to be. Billy Donovan seems to be that coach. And I mean, their games are fun.
Yeah, games are fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Raptors a little bit. Actually, we're going to talk about the Spurs. The Spurs beat the Raptors. They're now 4-0. This is the 4th 4-0 start in Spurs history. And we found out they've never been 5-0, which just seems
absurd,
crazy
for the level of talent that has been on the Spurs for the last 25 years. Yes, absolutely.
Wemby, 24, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, didn't get a block till late. And this is going to be a trend. We're going to be first on this. We're not really first on it. Wemby may watch his block totals drop. He was averaging 6 blocks a game, right? Coming into this one.
Yeah.
Teams don't want to shoot around him anymore, and like the message
They're terrified
is out.
of
Just
it.
don't come inside.
We have to find a defensive metric for being terrified of taking shots at the basket, right? Like there's the defensive field goal percentage of shots at the basket and how well some guy protects the rim. Rudy Gobert is great at that. Honestly, we need a new metric for Victor Wembanyama
or something. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Rudy was great for years at this. And Rudy, his block numbers were suppressed because of it. He didn't have 100%. The opportunities. I do believe that's going to happen to Wemby. We've been talking about the rookies a lot so far this week. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about Dylan Harper, who once again has a nice game for them off the bench. I don't even know what to say about this guy beyond just that he looks like a guy who's going to be a perennial all-star. Once he gets himself into the rotation. I mean, is there any chance, like, can they work it out so that when Fox comes back, I mean, I think that the idea is Harper's going to come off the bench all year. I just don't know how you keep this guy from closing games with Fox and Castle. I mean, that's a lot of ball handling. It's a lot of rim pressure.
The pretty crazy thing about Harper is that he's also a good defender right now because he's big, like he's like 6'7" or 6'8" or something like that, but he's wider, and that's what helps him get to the basket so much. He's a walking paint touch offensively, but like good rebounder, good defender, guy who can kind of like positionally size himself anywhere. And I think that's part of what's intriguing for San Antonio, where like Stephon Castle, big guard, Dylan Harper, big guard. Even Julian Champagny, like bigger wing, you know what I mean? Keldon Johnson, bigger player. So they don't even have
Victor
Jeremy
Wembanyama
Sohan yet.
Big center.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, big center. They're a big team. So they succeed defensively even outside of Wemby, I think. And to Harper's point, it's like he is now another player who is going to enter the Rookie of the Year conversation. I remember when we were talking, we said, hey, it might be hard for him to enter the conversation just because of minutes, just because of opportunity. He's forcing their hand. I'd be remiss to not mention that there was another rookie in this game that did well. Raptors rookie Colin Murray-Boyles, who had a career night in his second game. Just want to mention it. Just want to briefly bring it up because he's also another guy that might force his hand and force playing time for the Raptors.
Do you want to mention the multiple times that he was pressuring Wemby and Wemby was just whipping the ball around his back?
Hey,
like
do you want to mention them? Okay, I'll throw it back at you.
This is like a real thing. I want to talk about Wemby real quick for another second because every game he shows something new.
Yeah,
bringing the ball up with ball pressure. His ball handling has improved tremendously between last season and this season. Obviously he ended his season early, but also he had a 360 layup driving in traffic that I thought he was going to dunk it. That's where we've gotten with Victor Wembanyama.
He had a 360 cut late in the game where he basically he spun off a defender and caught it in midair and grabbed it for an alley-oop. It's just every single game, new things happen for Victor Wembanyama.
I wonder if he's
the balance of basketball. Doesn't make sense.
I wonder if he's been watching Steph Curry and his off-ball movement stuff because that's who he's starting to look like. The give and go stuff. I mean, the guy can I don't know. Anyway, guys, stick around. After the break, we got Jon Krawczynski to talk about the Wolves and what they're going to do without Anthony Edwards. Man, Minnesota sports having some poor injury luck this week. We got the news yesterday ahead of game time that Anthony Edwards was going to miss a couple weeks dealing with the hamstring issue that saw him exit the game the other night early. Jon Krawczynski covers the Wolves for us. He was there to watch them. The shorthanded Wolves, they lost a game to the Nuggets for the first time since the 2023 regular season.
Crazy.
Wow. John, how's it going?
It was good, guys. I mean, given that they were missing Ant, they were missing Jalen Clark, I still thought it was an entertaining game for 3 quarters, really. I mean, the Nuggets pulled away in the fourth and I think outlasted the Timberwolves. But, I mean, it was back and forth. Not a whole lot of defense played on either side, but saw some really good performances from Jaden McDaniels and, Jamal Murray and Jokic and Randle and Naz Reid. So, when you're looking for games early in the season, national televised and all that, like I thought that this was pretty good, even if it ended kind of more with a whimper.
Well, especially if, look, the Timberwolves are a good team. Like, we know who they are, and there's almost a certain amount of finding out who else can step up that you need to do to get to the next level. And, it's an opportunity is kind of what I'm getting at here. So what'd you think about their first chance to show what they can be if Ant has to miss some time?
Yeah, I think that they showed some things offensively, guys. I mean, when you look at the versatility that they showed with the ball movement, with Jaden McDaniels off the dribble, that we haven't really seen a whole lot of. That was a nice little wrinkle. Julius Randle has done a really good job of kind of being a hub. He's done this before in New York, and maybe kind of shifting back into more of a, kind of go-to center of the offense type of a guy. And then you have Naz Reid, that he started off the season a little slow, but really kind of gives some pop to this offense as well. So offensively, I think they feel pretty confident that they can find ways for, 2 weeks to put up enough points to be competitive. It's just defensively that they've really struggled even before Ant went out, but certainly missed him a lot today. He always gets up to play Jamal Murray, and he always usually draws that assignment for quite a bit of a game. And Murray just had his way with everyone. And so this Wolves team has not really shown any defensive identity yet this season. And now that you lose Anthony Edwards, one of your kind of on-ball, kind of physical guys, they're really missing some teeth there that they got to somehow find, to over these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you mentioned Jamal Murray, so let's talk about him. I mean, 43 points for him. It's like the best he's ever looked to start a season for the Nuggets. Watching him live, what was your impression of a very important player for the Nuggets this season?
Yeah, I'll say, one of the reasons that the Timberwolves have dominated this rivalry matchup in the last couple of years is that they always make Jamal Murray either look really bad or just ordinary.
It's true.
We all remember the playoffs game 2 in the Western Conference semifinals, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels just like swarming him and frustrating him and tearing him apart. And Murray's struggles in this matchup were a big reason why just the Wolves had such a foothold on them. And tonight he just really got going. He played pretty well in the first half, but third quarter just exploded, was getting to his spots, knocking down shots, hitting that that prototypical Jamal Murray turnaround fadeaway jumper, the kind of unguardable stuff that, you think about when, he was helping them win a championship. Like, that's the Jamal Murray that can make this Denver Nuggets team special. And that's also the Jamal Murray, when the Nuggets get the ordinary version of him, they're just not the same team. They're just not even close to as dangerous. And Murray just absolutely carved the Wolves up today. Jaden McDaniels, one of the really good defenders in this league, couldn't do anything with him. And nobody had an answer for him in his shot making and his drives, and just everything about him looked like vintage championship level Jamal Murray.
Their margin of error is so much wider when he is this type of player. I mean, the way that he can just get them going offensively and survive the minutes without Nikola Jokic, right? So Jokic goes off the floor. It's JV, it's Murray. Those guys running their 2-man game. And I think that was really successful tonight. I want to touch on this Wolves defense, because I think we've seen how they try to win defensively with Rudy on the floor, but they are struggling to find a defensive identity when Rudy is off of the floor. How do they manage that moving forward, especially with Gobert, like obviously being at the age and point of his career that he's at?
Yeah, it's the biggest issue that they're facing right now early in the season, guys, is that when Rudy is on the floor, typically, tonight he wasn't very good, but typically they are a top 2-3 defense in the league. And last year when he was on the floor, they were number 1, a number 1 defensive rating, as good as Oklahoma City's. But then when he comes off of the floor and they go to a Julius Randle, Naz Reid front court, that just has not worked at all defensively. Yeah. And so I really do wonder when Chris Finch will look at playing the 18-year-old rookie Johan Berenger. He is very, very raw. But one thing that they believe that he can do is block shots, be a rim deterrent, and just get in there and rebound the ball a little bit. That might just have to be an adjustment that has to be made here, because I don't know that all of a sudden Julius Randle and Naz Reid are just going to find some sort of defensive reservoir that that was as yet undiscovered. I think there's two ways to do it. Either you lean into them as just an offensive force and just try and outscore teams, or you maybe look at bringing in a Baraheni and just seeing if he can be at least a little bit of a deterrent at the rim, because they're just not getting any kind of rim protection without Rudy Gobert out there on the floor.
The nice thing is both of those guys have shown that they can actually handle the ball with a big out there. And I mean, Naz Reid was like running pick and roll with Rudy Gobert tonight. So I think that's probably worth a shot, because the defense is the biggest problem that they're dealing with right now, outside of the Anthony Edwards injury. Like I said, he's going to be out a couple weeks. What's the latest on the hamstring? Yeah,
so basically he got an MRI today, and I think it really revealed what a lot of the folks around here expected when he first got hurt, is that it's on the more minor side of the scale when it comes to severity. And so he will be reevaluated in a week. And then after that, everyone internally expects about 2 weeks for him to come back. One thing that they do not want to happen is for him to come back too early, and then all of a sudden you aggravate it, and then you're out for a month, And so they are going to be conservative with him, because he's just too important to what they're doing. But there's no indications that as of right now that injury is like a 4 week or a 5 or 6 week injury. It's just, if they handle it right, if he rehabs the right way, he should be back on the court ready to go in a couple of weeks.
I will say this is like a perfect time for an injury like this to happen from the Timberwolves. If you look at their schedule, because they play the Lakers, who are an injured team right now. They play Brooklyn, Charlotte, the Jazz, and Kings a couple of times. So it's maybe like this is the perfect opportunity to maybe try some of those younger players, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what I think a lot of Wolves fans have been looking for, is they want to just see Rob Dillingham out there. He was good in stretches tonight, and he struggled in the second shift. But that's what rookies and second year players do, is they're going to be up and down, but they need to be out there playing. Terrence Shannon needs to be playing. Jalen Clark, he was out tonight. They missed his defense, but they need that kind of youth and that energy. And even if it means that they drop a couple of games right now, just getting those guys out there and playing and in the rotation and having a little experience and then building off of that, I think is really important for them. One of the biggest stretches last season for them was actually when Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert were all hurt. And they got Dillingham some minutes. They got Jalen Clark some run. And also importantly, Randle and DiVincenzo got to look and watch these guys play and say, all right, we know how to do it coming back. So so they need to really maximize this time without Edwards. And even if it means that they don't win a ton of games right now, they have to be productive in getting their guys on the same page and then getting those young guys some experience.
What do you think about moving Conley back into the starting lineup versus maybe doing something like in my opinion, I would have gone with Terrence Shannon, maybe. I mean, maintain that athleticism advantage that you're going to have against so many teams, the size advantage that you're going to have against so many teams, and also still have Conley coming off the bench. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was mildly surprised, I guess, because I do think that, whether it's Shannon and especially against this Denver team, I think it would have been a good matchup. And the other thing is he's a sneaky good playmaker. I mean, you saw some of the passes that he made tonight, driving, kick into the corners.
Absolutely.
Like he can do that kind of thing. Is he a point guard? No, but like he can do some things that way to keep the ball moving. And so that was one option. I wondered if they would do a Bones Highland, who has been playing more just as a more prototypical guard. But Chris Finch loves Mike Conley, believes in Mike Conley, trusts him. And one of the things I think that he was trying to do with putting Mike Conley in the starting lineup is they have had a hard time so far this season trying to get Rudy Gobert involved in the offense at all. And Mike Conley is somebody who can do that. They have a good chemistry going back to Utah. And so I think it was a move to say, let's get someone in there who is going to get the ball a little bit to Rudy, the old Doc Rivers, Kendrick Perkins conundrum of you just give him a touch or two and then he'll play better defensively. And so I think that was part of the calculus. And Conley played solid tonight. He still doesn't give them a whole lot from a scoring standpoint or threat wise. And so I do think that Chris Finch could be pretty flexible in that spot over these next 2 weeks. I don't think it necessarily means Conley's going to start there every game, but I think right away, first game out of the chute without Ant against the division rival, who's very, very good. I think he was just looking for a little more calm, steady presence out there. And for the most part, I think Conley gave it to him.
Yep. Well, I'll be watching those lineups for sure, because again, I mean, they did so much stuff, especially rotation wise in the playoffs last year. That was interesting. When the chips are down, they definitely get creative. Jon Krawczynski,
we're trying something.
Yeah, exactly. Jon Krawczynski, go and read him at The Athletic. He covers the Wolves for us there. That's going to do it for the show. Thank you, Jon. Thanks to Es Baraheni. I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.